Today on Studio One, when babies get ear infections, some parents are taking them to a different clinic. We'll tell you where. Also, meet a basketball team who plays by different rules but keeps the same intensity. And a little of this and a little of that at a college competition for cooks.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Monty Cashel.
And I'm Katie Fletcher.
Well, people at home often hear stories coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, but unless you know somebody who's involved, sometimes it's hard to put a face to the story and that sort of thing. We get an opportunity today to talk to a soldier who was over in Afghanistan, faced quite an interesting...
That'll be really interesting. You know, it's not the mediated experience. We actually get to talk to him.
Right. We don't just get to hear about it. We get to talk to him about his experience over there. It's quite a story, and that's coming up a little bit later in the show. But first, next to the common cold, ear infections are the most commonly diagnosed childhood illness. Find out what alternative treatments to medicine some parents are choosing.
Many people learn better by doing. Later we will meet a woman who learns business practices by investing thousands before graduating.
Before we get to all of that, here's today's news with Stephanie Shire.
Thanks, Monty and Katie. The Sahel, a region of land that stretches across Africa, is experiencing cycles of drought. 8 countries below the Sahara Desert are seeing the worst conditions. Most crops have not survived in this area. Consequently, food is scarce. The United Nations estimates that more than 10 million people are in danger of starving to death. They say 1 million children are at risk for malnutrition. The UN Children's Fund created a worldwide social media campaign on April 3rd to raise awareness about the crisis. They hope to raise $120 million to treat and feed the region's children. An investigation is underway of a chaotic scene at a college board meeting in California. 100 Santa Monica College students were demonstrating against a controversial plan offering extra courses at a higher tuition. The students were upset there wasn't enough room for them at the school's board meeting. A campus police officer used pepper spray on students. 3 students were taken to the hospital. 30 others were treated at the scene for burning eyes and throat irritation. Some potential employers are now one step closer to reading your diary. The Associated Press reports that agencies around the country are asking job applicants for their social media passwords. Some companies are requesting Facebook passwords to help determine if job seekers are a fit for the position. Personal information like race, age, and religion are protected by the federal law when applying for jobs. That information is often displayed on a personal profile.
Well, I think it's just interesting that an employer would ask an applicant for their password. I personally find it very invasive.
2 U.S. senators are now on the task of figuring out if this is violating the law. They say you should not have to reveal your private life just to get a job. In the depths of the sea, there's an aquarium of sea life and also your internet connection. Telecom companies have put over 130,000 miles of cables on the sea floor. That is enough cable to go around the world at least 5 times. Right now, they are in the process of linking London directly to Tokyo by going through the polar ice cap. The speed of the internet will be 2,000 times faster than your home internet. The average internet user might not notice a big difference, but it's an eternity to high-speed stock traders. They can make or lose millions of dollars in that span of time. A baby crying out in pain is commonly caused by ear infections. Antibiotics or tube implants used to be the only treatment, but now some people are taking another crack at finding a solution.
Lily Easton is a happy and healthy baby, but this wasn't always the case.
Lily was having a lot of ear infections. I think she was on her 7th one. And they had told us she needed tubes if they kept continuing. And would you like an apple?
85% of all children have suffered from an ear infection. It is also the #1 reason for visits to the pediatrician. Antibiotics used to be the only solution. Now, to avoid giving babies multiple doses of antibiotics, more and more parents are adjusting to a new trend.
I guess the biggest thing for us has been we didn't know an ear infection could be healed without medicine.
All done.
Good girl.
Yay, and clear ears. Yay.
Many parents are looking towards chiropractic to complement their children's health care.
It's becoming more and more popular that children are getting adjusted because more parents are wanting to make sure that their kids are taken care of and prevent issues down the road.
The reason for this issue involves the birthing process. Sometimes it can have an effect on the baby's nervous system.
When they're coming out and the doctors are trying just a natural birth and they're trying to help the baby out, a lot of times they can inadvertently twist the baby or turn them, try to get their shoulders out or something like that.
Research says the study of chiropractic used to treat ear infection is not yet definite. More scientific research needs to be done. But for Jenna and Lily, her smile is proof enough for them.
Right.
This is Allie Strand reporting for Studio One.
Parents are always advised to consult with their primary pediatrician before taking their children to the chiropractor. And that's the news for now. Monty and Katie.
Thanks, Stephanie. Well, you'll always have that pull between traditional and non-traditional medicine.
Right, it's great that they're always thinking of new medical devices out there.
Exactly.
Let's go to Kellen Peters now with the news. You know, with springtime out there, it's brought storms, and we're going to learn a little bit about that.
Thanks, Monty and Katie. That's right. It's this time of the year where we get to talk about thunderstorms. And talking about thunderstorms, there are three main ingredients that we're going to hit on today. Taking a look at our graphic, you can see that we're going to take a look specifically the warm, humid air. This is the first source that you're going to need for a thunderstorm. Now, with all this warm, moist air coming off the Gulf, that's going to start giving the system moisture. And with the lack of our mild winter, actually, it's really with water temperature and bodies of water, the temperatures for it to cool or warm takes a lot longer than land. And since the temperatures were warmer than average for winter, we've reached the average temperature or above average temperatures that we should expect to see for spring thunderstorms. So that's why we're starting to see thunderstorms a month early. Now, the other key thing for thunderstorms is moisture and dew point. With higher temperatures and higher dew points, you have more saturation in the atmosphere. And basically what a dew point is what the temperature has to be in order for that to saturate. And with that, the other final third ingredient, should you say, is actually just the instability in the atmosphere. And basically what that is simply the cold, dry air above the warm, humid air, because cold air wants to sink and warm air wants to rise, and that's where you're going to get your mixture. And we're going to talk about tornadoes. With all those three factors in a thunderstorm, there's one more thing you need, and that's a lifting mechanism. And basically what that is it's the simplest thing. It could be a cold front, a sea breeze, or even a dry line. And with that, it's going to create that updraft, just something to trigger the storm. And also with increase in height in the atmosphere, the wind speed strengthens and increases, and that's actually called simply a wind shear. It creates that rotation effect almost with that. And when it starts hitting that updraft, as you can see, it becomes inverted and vertical actually. So when you start hearing the term hook echo, that's what's going on, is that rotation is getting more upwards almost. And with that, that's where tornadoes usually occur. So that's what meteorologists and the National Weather Service are looking for, is hook echoes when this phenomena is going on. Now, as for temperatures through our outlook for the rest of the 2 weeks, all the way from the central part of the United States and out west, it's going to be warm and above average temperatures, so it's been all year long. However, out in the eastern part of the country, seeing a little cooler than average temperatures. As for moisture, it's still this area coming right off the Gulf of Mexico, the southeastern part of the country. We talked about last week about how the southwestern part of the country has been seeing some droughts. This is still going on, so this is the battle that they're going to continue to see. Now, we were talking about severe weather, and it brings us for our weather question of the week. It is, on average, how many tornadoes occur annually in the United States? Is it 600, 900, 1,200, or 1,500? Now, Monty and Katie, I'm not sure if you knew this, but last year we were above average than our number, and this year it's looking promising to break that as well.
All right, thanks, Kellen.
Thank you.
All right, promising for storm chasers anyway.
Right.
And the rest of us run in the other direction.
Maybe even across the ocean.
Yeah, the safer place. All right, well, let's turn to some sports highlights now. John Schaefer has some of those for us.
Thanks, Monty and Katie. There are no bogeys about this weather. With the unseasonably warm temperatures, golf season has already started. Across the nation, courses are allowing people on the links about a month earlier than usual. Golfers sometimes wait till the middle of April to go out for their first rounds. This year, hundreds of golf courses set records for the earliest they've ever been open.
We opened about 2 weeks ago, so it was towards the beginning of March, which is pretty unbelievable to be out that early.
Some fairways are still a little wet. Even though conditions aren't perfect, course owners say this helps make up for the cold and snowy spring last year. Forecasters say the golf season should keep going as the unseasonably warm weather will continue. It's now time for the Studio One Sports Trivia question. When did wheelchair basketball begin? Is it A, 1926, 1946, 1966, or 1986? We'll get to that later in the show, and that's the sports. Monty and Katie.
Thanks for that, John. The American Pie film series is known for its clan of dynamic characters transitioning from high school through college. Years later, they've all grown into their adult lives. We'll meet the comical friends again when we preview the new movie, American Reunion.
And investment decisions and deals are usually executed by experienced professionals. Next, we'll meet a member of a student-run group who makes those decisions with real companies.
The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is meeting the challenge of future healthcare workforce shortages. The state's only medical school produces the highest percentage of graduates nationwide who choose family medicine. Advanced degrees are also offered in basic medical sciences like anatomy and health professions like physical therapy. Students learn and train throughout the state.
In that way, we really are North Dakota.
Make your choice the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, improving the world is our project.
This could be your next road.
Our research helps heat your home without hurting the environment.
You drink clean water because of my work.
We push technology to improve quality of life.
This field could fuel your car.
Petroleum production can be more efficient.
One day, my ideas will impact you.
I am
an engineer. Accounting at the University of North Dakota is more than just numbers. It's about maintaining a history of high-quality education and developing leaders in the accounting profession. While numbers stay the same, the UND accounting program continues to evolve. UND hosts one of the country's best accounting programs and now offers a master's degree in accountancy. Accounting at the University of North Dakota. Numbers accelerated.
Studio One is a television show produced by students at the University of North Dakota.
You can be a part of the graphics team, the marketing team, news team, programming team, production team.
Training never ends.
You get to produce guests, you get to do the reporting side of it.
It's really worth the experience. You will not regret it.
Help others live to their full potential. Improve clients' mental and physical well-being. Excel in one of the top healthcare careers of the future. Occupational therapy students at the University of North Dakota experience high-quality education in small classes.
Not to come to 45 degrees, even in a normal motion pattern.
Your healthcare career begins at the University of North Dakota.
You're watching Studio One, twice named the best college television show in the nation by the National Association of College Broadcasters.
It's hard to really learn something until you experience it firsthand. The Dakota Venture Group is the first student-run venture capital investment fund in the nation. President of the organization, Alex Nasted, can provide insight on her experience as a student making investment choices. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
And so, yeah, like I said, the Dakota Venture Capital Group is the first completely student-run investment fund in the United States. Could you kind of explain what that is?
Yep, so basically we have startup companies apply to the group and then they ask us for funding and then we have them come in and present to us, and if we decide that we think it's a viable option, then we'll invest money from our fund into the business and hopefully see a return in years down the road.
All right, so you're a member of the group. What is your role?
Well, I'm the president currently, and so I basically just oversee everything. Right now we're in the process of organizing a second fund, so there's a lot of fundraising that goes on, going out and meeting with different people, and overseeing everyone in the group if anyone has any questions about anything or their roles, and making sure everyone stays on task.
All right, so you're investing money, in real companies as a student. That seems kind of scary.
It is a little bit. I remember the first deal that we looked at, I thought, oh my gosh, this is a real company and this is real money that we're investing. What if we lose it? But you just kind of get used to it and it just becomes your day-to-day. And as you look at more companies, you become really comfortable with the process.
What is the process as a student that you go through when deciding whether to invest in a company or not?
We look at some different parameters. We look at where the company is based out of, the size of the company, the valuation, how much money they're looking to raise, what the product is, if we think it has a viable market or not.
So this is a group of students. What kind of people are involved in this organization?
We have students from mostly the business school, but we also have students from the engineering school. We have law students. We're looking for some students from the med school. So it's a nice diverse group.
So you have this nonprofit fund called the Evergreen Fund. Are there any other developments that DVG is looking at making in the future?
Yep, so right now we're in the process of organizing a second fund called the Harvest Fund, and this would be a for-profit fund, which has actually never been done by students before, so it would be the first time in the nation, again.
Okay, what is the difference? Could you kind of explain the difference between this new fund that you're developing versus the nonprofit?
Yep, so with the Evergreen Fund, when we make an investment, if we see a return on our investment, we put it back into the fund and we'll reinvest it again in the future. But with this for-profit fund, we go out and meet with different investors and they give us their money and then we take that money and invest it for them. And then once we see a return on the investment, then we give the money back to the investors. So.
Okay, so you're investing in these companies. How do they hear about you? How do they apply for this funding?
There's a lot of networking in the area. There are a lot of different angel groups in Grand Forks, Fargo, Foston, and Wahpeton, so we pass deal flow back and forth. But then we also use a website called GUST that a lot of entrepreneurs know about, and they can apply through the group that way.
So as a member of DVG, you take part in some real business choices. What is the pressure, as a student in investing in these real businesses?
Well, I think that once you do invest, and you're really required to help out these companies, and you really want them to succeed. So meeting with these different individuals and helping them guide their company along, and looking at the valuations of the company and all of these different aspects to it, and helping them with what's the best marketing approach for them. And it's really great to be able to use these hands-on experiences in the real world.
Do you ever feel like you're not qualified to make these type of decisions?
At first I did, but I think that since I started the group and to now, I've learned so much that now I feel much more qualified and I feel much more comfortable with making decisions like that. But at first I was quite nervous.
What are some things yourself and others do to, prepare yourself for these big decisions?
I think just we have, like I said, a great network in the area, and so we can go and meet with these different professionals that really know certain industries really well. If somebody's coming in for, say, a biomedical device, which I wouldn't know much about, we can go out and meet with different people and ask for their opinions, people that really know what these products would be doing and if it was a good choice for an investment or not.
So you have a relationship with these, real companies. Is it, different? Do they treat you any differently from the fact that you guys are students?
They don't, and that was really refreshing and surprising for me. I thought maybe that they would because we are students, but we are investing real money just like any other investor that they have, so we're not treated like students at all.
That's great. What do you get out of this group personally?
I've learned so much on investment and private equity, venture capital, that whole aspect, because I wasn't a finance major for undergrad and I'm a business student now, but you only touch on finance, and this is being able to really delve into things and learn the ins and outs of venture capital and private equity.
How does this group you're learning hands-on experience, how does this group benefit students, when they go out and get their future careers?
Well, when you go and you're interviewing, you can say, I have actual experience doing this. I didn't just learn this in the classroom. I've done this, and I can show you the investment decisions that I've made. We've seen all these different returns on them. And I think also the networking aspect of it, too. We're meeting so many different business professionals in the area, so you have a really great network set up for you when you graduate.
All right, thanks so much for being on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Coming up, a physical disability can make some tasks a challenge, but on the basketball court, one group of men takes that challenge and make it part of the game. Also, college students are hardly known for their skills in making fine cuisine. We'll visit a competition where students bring out their inner chef.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
This is a place where innovation abounds, a place where dreams come true, a place where creativity is a way of life, a place that fires our soul. Join us for the North Dakota Spirit Campaign. Together, we will shape the future of UND and North Dakota.
Teenage fans fell in love with the coming-of-age film American Pie when it first premiered in the 90s. Now, over a decade later, the cast is back together for the fourth and final installment of the American Pie series. American Reunion takes moviegoers back to East Great Falls High School to catch up with the characters at their 10-year high school reunion. Now, at a very different stage in life, the characters must deal with careers, families, and spouses. The group finds the familiar pages in the yearbook that list their future aspirations.
Now we're telling the story of 30-somethings who are realizing, looking back on their life and seeing where they are at present and kind of wondering if they're doing what they're supposed to be doing.
The cast and crew say that returning to work on the film after so many years was like having a reunion of their own. A new writing and directing team took on the film. The duo say that they grew up watching the American Pie movies and have always been huge fans. They say fans can expect the same outrageous comedy and relatable characters that made the first movies a success. American Reunion is in theaters April 6th with an R rating. Now it's time to look at the events happening in your area. The meal of a typical college student sure isn't mom's home cooking. We watched as some college students put on chef hats to dispel the stereotype.
These cooks are given just 2 hours. The sweat is dripping behind the stoves. Every participant had to give everything they had to offer.
Oh, it's just electric.
These college students got hands-on experience in the culinary arts. The University of North Dakota had its own version of the popular TV show called Iron Chef. The mission was to make the best dish based on chicken, rice, and...
With that, they have to create a balanced, nutritionally balanced meal.
Luckily, not only the judges will be able to taste these creations.
We're actually going to take all the recipes from the 4 top teams, and we're going to have Campus Catering recreate those.
The spectators had to endure the invigorating smells emerging from the pots.
Smells really good.
It was interesting to watch, and you really got to give these students credit for taking time out of their busy schedule.
With the help of skilled mentors, these students could let their creativity run wild.
How are we doing, guys? Having fun? Your recipe sounds really interesting. I love jerk sauce.
We're good friends. We just like to hang out, so we thought we'd do this, so it's great. It's great.
At the end of the night, the best cooks emerged. But it was all for the fun. With photographer Dag Amdam, this is Henrik Torget reporting for Studio One.
The competition is part of the university's Nightlife series. The program strives to create events for students during usual times of high-risk alcohol consumption. Coming up, severe weather warnings can save lives, but it takes a lot of preparation to know what warning to give and when. We'll tell you how meteorologists train for those crucial moments. That's story plus news, sports, and weather in the next half hour of Studio One.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
Help others live to their full potential. Improve clients' mental and physical well-being. Excel in one of the top healthcare careers of the future. Occupational therapy students at the University of North Dakota experience high-quality education in small classes.
It has to come to 45 degrees, even in a normal motion pattern.
Your healthcare career begins at the University of North Dakota.
This is a place where innovation abounds, a place where dreams come true, a place where creativity is a way of life, a place that fires our soul. Join us for the North Dakota Spirit Campaign. Together, we will shape the future of UND and North Dakota.
Your future depends on this moment. Take the path that leads to your future.
From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Welcome back to Studio One.
Thanks for joining us today.
So, as you go through life, you tend to accumulate a lot of stuff.
Yes, absolutely. You have to move once and find out how much stuff you have.
Right, you know, you hang on to that tattered old baby blanket or something.
Or that pet rock you had since you were 5 years old.
Yeah, well, what you think is your prized possession could be what another person thinks is garbage.
Absolutely.
Well, we thought it'd be interesting to go get your thoughts on what you could never let go.
And we have some interesting answers coming up. Also, in the next 30 minutes on Studio One, many people try to cut back on their sweets, but sugar is still sneaking its way into Americans' diets. Find out how much and its effect on your health.
Also, yoga has become increasingly more popular as a way to improve your general well-being. We'll meet a group that takes part in yoga exercises made to induce laughter.
And unless you serve in the military, you can only imagine what soldiers endure. We'll talk to a soldier about his recent tour in Afghanistan and the 35 attacks he survived. But first, here's today's news with Stephanie Shire.
Thanks, Monty and Katie. A Wisconsin woman came to her own rescue when a routine flight turned into a crisis. John and Helen Collins were piloting their plane home from Florida when John suddenly lost consciousness and died mid-flight. The 80-year-old woman, who had never flown a plane before, was forced to take over and land the plane. When Helen contacted air traffic controllers, another pilot went up and flew beside the plane to help her through the process. After one of her engines went out, Helen was able to make a rough landing at a small airport. She was rushed to the hospital with minor injuries. Officials say they believe her husband died of a heart attack. The U.S. Coast Guard has spotted an abandoned fishing trawler not far off the Pacific coast. The ship is just one piece of debris left over from the tsunami that hit Japan more than a year ago. The ship is said to be 170 miles southwest of Sitka, Alaska. The ship holds more than 2,000 gallons of diesel fuel. Authorities are also concerned it could interfere with the course of other vessels as it drifts through shipping lanes. The Coast Guard sent out a crew to assess the ship's condition. If it's safe to sink, they plan to use cannon fire. When searching for that afternoon snack, many people grudgingly reach for something healthy. But new research shows a common favorite munchie can be nutritious and delicious. A study by the University of Scranton, Pennsylvania confirms that popcorn is packed with healthy qualities. The hulls of popcorn contain many polyphenols, which are a type of antioxidant. Also found in many fruits and vegetables, antioxidants are crucial to having a healthy diet.
Do you want antioxidants in your diet to bring into your body to kind of neutralize those? And so if you don't have enough antioxidants, you're not neutralizing enough of those oxidants, and so then they cause damage.
Despite its nutrients, experts say you should not substitute popcorn for fresh produce. They also say every drop of butter and sprinkle of salt diminishes the health benefits quickly. Technology makes many daily tasks easier, and now it's replacing some duties for parents. New products include a toothbrush that sends a message to the parent's cell phone when a child has brushed their teeth. Another tracker can detect how fast a teenager is driving and how far they are from home. Or even a GPS device for toddlers that alerts mom and dad when they've strayed more than 150 feet away. Experts question if we are replacing parenting with technology, or if this generation's privacy will just look different. The well-known song calls for sugar in the morning, sugar in the evening, and sugar at supper time. But is too much sugar harmful? A study from the medical school at the University of California says added sugar in foods is to blame for the increasing number of chronic diseases. A spoonful of sugar might make the medicine go down, but it also makes blood pressure and cholesterol go up. The American Heart Association recommends that Americans drastically cut back on added sugar.
I don't pay a lot of attention to the sugar, no.
Men should have 9 teaspoons of sugar a day, and women should have 6. But Americans crave sugar.
I had a grocery store, our family had a grocery store for 75 years, but we were in an area where sugar intake didn't mean anything. They wanted all the sugar and no diet foods.
The average person consumes over 150 pounds of added sugar per year. That's 15 of these 10-pound bags.
And I almost think that sugar is one of these things where you kind of build a tolerance to it, so to speak. So you're kind of needing more sugar as time goes on to have that sensation of taste that you experience.
Some scientists are suggesting that sugar now be regulated in the same way as alcohol because its increasing use in processed foods poses a significant danger to public health. Even foods with a reputation of being healthy, like granola for example, contain up to 3 teaspoons of sugar alone.
I think something that needs to be a little more clearly spelled out on food labels is the idea of what is truly added sugar in this product. I mean, we need to know what was originally there, say like the granola example, what was originally there and what was added to make it more sweet.
So even if you avoid the sweets, the bitter truth is that sugar can still sneak into your diet. In order to know how much sugar food contains requires reading the label. All ingredients are listed in descending order by weight, so if you see corn syrup, dextrose, or fructose at the top of the list, that means it contains more sugar than you should probably ingest. And that's the news for now. Monty and Katie.
Thanks, Stephanie. Why is it always the stuff that tends to taste good that's bad for you, right?
It's kind of scary. I mean, the products that have sugar are having even more sugar added to them.
Exactly.
Well, let's go to Kellen Peters now with the weather news. He's going to talk about some storms that have hit the southern region.
Thanks, Monty and Katie. You know, the biggest headline this week has been the tornadoes that swept through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And you got to check out this footage. There was 18 tornadoes in this area. And you can see that over 300 buildings were damaged all across the area. Over 47,000 people were left out power lines. And you can see it. That's a semi-trailer that was thrown through the air. And semis and trailer homes were all scattered around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And you can see that cleanup crews were still underway. And as for the airport, the Dallas International Airport, over 40 flights had to be rerouted around this storm, and over 400 had to be canceled. So a lot was going around in this whole area of Texas. Now, generally, severe thunderstorms and tornadoes will run all the way from the northeast all the way down to the southwest. As you can see right here, this was the case, as these 18 tornadoes. But here's the interesting thing, they're calling this a miracle because there wasn't a single death recorded through all of these. And with that, it's actually, with technology, the National Weather Service has been using something called a storm simulator.
Forecasters can be considered the athletes of the science world. They constantly train for the upcoming season.
We have a number of different avenues where we're training the forecasters, getting them ready for that season's hazardous weather.
Forecasters at the National Weather Service train with WES, a weather event simulator. This machine keeps a track record of daily weather events. Forecasters use these records to run simulations 4 or more times a year.
For winter weather, we do one for severe weather, we do one for flash flooding or flooding, and we also do one for high wind events.
Significant weather events vary by area. The Southwest would highlight different events than those up north.
They might have simulations that look at fire weather events or dust storms.
During the spring, forecasters practice for severe weather. Wes coaches them and keeps them mentally in shape.
Weather.
With photographer Matt Petrowiak, I'm Brianna Kump reporting for Studio One Weather.
Now, all the data is recorded on DVDs, and generally each day of material is recorded on 2 DVDs. Now, talking about severe weather, this brings us back to our weather question of the week, and is on average, how many tornadoes occur annually in the United States? With the answer at 1,200. And it's interesting, Monty and Katie, that's 4 times the amount seen in Europe. So at this time of the year, it's very important to keep an eye on severe weather.
All right, thanks, Kellen.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the earlier the spring like we're having now, the more tornadoes there will be.
Right, the warm weather brings in the storms.
Okay, everybody move to Europe. No tornadoes. All right, let's go to John Schaefer one last time in sports.
Thanks, Monty and Katie. Basketball, a game of speed, passing, and shooting. It's one of the most well-known team games in sports. For a group of men, they share more than their passion of the game of basketball.
I have a little bit of paralysis in my left side.
My ACLs and my knees. I tore my first one, I got surgically repaired, and my second one, I haven't got repaired.
I shattered my pelvis and I lost some motor nerves in my left leg.
These men found a game that allows them to push aside their injuries and keep a competitive edge. The coach of the NDAD Wallbangers wheelchair basketball team has been playing for
37 years. I remember when I was the rookie on the team, and now I'm the old man on the team.
That number hasn't hindered his skills on the court with men half his age.
6'5".
If you talk to Shannon Moore, he'll tell you something surprising about his abilities on the hardwood.
It kind of adds to the fun to me. I enjoy passing the ball, and people think that a guy who can't see shouldn't be able to pass very good, but that's what I excel in.
Shannon is legally blind, but manages to perform at high levels on the basketball court. The team also has people without disabilities that are just as valuable.
I've seen it on TV and I've always wanted to try it, so I figured I'd give it a shot and been hooked ever since.
For some of the players on the team that don't have disabilities, they've learned a lot as well.
I got a whole new respect for people in wheelchairs. Just trying to get through doors and just trying to get around and just live life.
In 37 years of playing, Shannon has taken a lot away from the game, but nothing bigger than this.
Shows you that no matter what you think is wrong with you, there's always someone next to you has it a little bit worse, so suck it up and play.
The team travels all over the U.S. for tournaments. They have a natural rivalry with a handful of teams in the Twin Cities. Now the answer to this week's Studio One Sports Trivia question, when did wheelchair basketball begin? The answer is B, 1946. The California chapter of Paralyzed American Veterans started that, and it's quickly spread across the North American continent. That's the sports. Monty and Katie.
Thanks, John. Everyone has something they just can't let go of. You may have a shrine of your own. We wanted your thoughts on what you can't let go and why, and your answers are still to come.
Also, laughter is contagious. We'll see how this is true in a yoga class designed for all ages.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
Your future depends on this moment. Take the path that leads to your future.
Studio One is a television show produced by students at the University of North Dakota.
You can be a part of the graphics team, the marketing team, news team, programming team, production team.
Training never ends.
You get to produce gas, you get to do the reporting side of it.
It's really worth the experience. You will not regret it.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, improving the world is our project.
This could be your next road.
Our research helps heat your home without hurting the environment.
You drink clean water because of my work.
We push technology to improve quality of life.
This field could fuel your car.
Petroleum production can be more efficient.
One day, my ideas will impact you.
I am an engineer.
Here's a shot of our wonderful studio audience. Thanks for joining us. On average, a person burns 246 calories going for a walk, 281 riding a bike, and 563 playing a game of basketball. We found a group that really busts a gut to burn calories.
No matter what your age, staying active is important. Exercise plays a big role in an individual's health.
Yes, I feel very, very good and I feel full of energy all the time.
Some people set all jokes aside when they hit the gym. This group snickers at the idea of a serious workout.
Especially in this country, we are, I think, a little too serious about everything. We get all the great benefits, even when that laughter is forced. Laughter is contagious, like yawning, and so it soon becomes real.
Real enough to burn calories, inhale rich oxygenated air, and of course, make friends. Laughter yoga originated in India and came to the United States in 2005.
Laughter is not a cure, it's a complement to what other personal wellness programs you have in place in your life.
The beauty of this is that anyone can do it because everyone knows how to breathe and laugh. There is a serious side to this.
Especially people who suffer from chronic depression, they've seen a lot of progress made when individuals can come together in laughter sessions.
Sue says laughter is healthy for both the mind and the body.
I'm hoping to saturate this part of the country with lots of laughter because it's so good for us.
So next time you're laughing so hard your gut hurts, remember that each giggle has more benefits than just putting a smile on your face.
And I feel like laughing all the time.
With photographer Matt Petroviak, this is Avery Hagasog reporting for Studio One.
Sue uses different scenarios to get her group laughing. For one exercise, they might be bowling, and another time spraying imaginary ketchup on one another. Around springtime, many people decide to minimize the clutter in their homes. They go through their belongings, throw stuff away, or have a garage sale to get rid of what they no longer need. There are some things people will always hang on to. We wanted your thoughts on what objects you would never let go of.
I would never let go of my down comforter. I've had it about 15 years and it's just everything.
My baseball cards, because they're going to be worth something someday.
I wouldn't let go of my bunny rabbit because I got it when I was born and I had it since I was born.
One thing I would never let go of is my Beanie Baby collection because I took a long time collecting it and it means a lot to me.
My high school yearbooks because it has pictures of all my friends and it has a lot of good memories as well.
A stuffed giraffe I had since I was a baby.
My photo albums because they contain pictures from long ago that I can't get. They're not digital, so they're just permanent.
My sneaker collection because everybody loves sneakers.
Probably my G.I. Joe collection from the late 90s because they're still covered in dirt and they have a lot of good sentimental memories.
A comment from our Facebook page from Rochester, Minnesota. Lacey says, I would keep all photos. I have lost my parents. The photos are the only thing I have left of them to keep the memory of them around. Katie from Sioux City, Iowa. My purse and shoe collection, because they are the things I enjoy collecting. Keyword collecting. So you can't get rid of it, right? You often hear about suicide bombers in the news. We'll talk to a soldier who survived this kind of attack among other life-threatening situations when we come back.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by the Listen Center, where meeting friends at Listen is a groovy thing to do and has been since the days of Woodstock.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
This is a place where innovation abounds, a place where dreams come true, a place where creativity is a way of life, a place that fires our soul. Join us for the North Dakota Spirit Campaign. Together, we will shape the future of UND and North Dakota.
The entertainment industry often tries their best to give a detailed portrayal of what soldiers endure. Some soldiers say you'll never know what it's like until you experience it for yourself. Air Force Master Sergeant Cliff Monroe is here to tell us about his experience. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Well, explain what your job is in the Air Force.
Basically, I'm a carpenter. Work most construction, small projects, maintenance on the base. Deployed, we're the ones that build the base and keep it up and running while the plane's flying.
All right. Well, that sounds familiar to a lot of people, being a carpenter and building things. But on your fourth deployment, and this was in Afghanistan, correct? Yes. You were attacked 35 times. That's a lot of times for, it seems, anyone to be attacked. Is that typical for someone in your role?
No, normally, like I said, when we're deployed, we're either building a base, building up a base, maintaining a base. This time, it was somewhat of a humanitarian mission. We were helping the locals, local government kind of extend their reach, getting the people to buy in. We were facilitating schools, wells, stuff like that with the local government.
And one of the attacks was actually by a suicide bomber. Can you give us that scenario, set the scene, what you were working on, and then what happened?
We were buying medical supplies. We had started a program, my medic, he had started a program to kind of start handing supplies out as we were going out into different villages, seeing what medical needs they had, and trying to give them any help we could. So we were down in a village at a pharmacy buying medical supplies for this. And the suicide bomber had came out of one of the stores and detonated.
Okay, and two of your team members actually died in that suicide bombing. And what does that do to a team? I mean, you're all out there as a team, and this happens. It was tough. I mean, at first, all there was dust, and as the dust was settling, our comm guy, I saw him, I grabbed him, pulled him behind me. Medic was inside the pharmacy getting the supplies. As the dust settled, my medic came out. He took off towards where the two bodies were. I went with him. One of our guys who had survived, he was wounded, got some shrapnel in the arm. The two that were right there, we were trying to give them whatever medical help we could, but it was already too late. How well were you ready for that kind of a situation? Have you ever been in a situation like that before? No. Yeah. If you'd asked me before, I'd have probably said I wasn't ready. But yeah. There was enough training beforehand, so when it happened, there wasn't a whole lot of thought going into it. It was just do. Sure. You know, it was find everybody, get accountability, you know, make sure everybody's okay, make sure there's not another attack coming. And up until we got back to the fob, that was when it kind of really starts to hit home. Yeah, hit, and then it was rough after that. You also, you've received recognition for events that happened last July, and that was a different situation. Tell us about that. We went to a village. Local governor was talking to the village elders, kind of asking them what their problems were, what they needed, what they thought the government needed to do, so on and so forth. My job was to kind of go around the village, look at infrastructure, count wells, see if there was anything along those lines that we could kind of use to show them that the government does care and the government's trying to work with them. After the SURE had wrapped up, we were leaving the village. We had the Afghan police in front of us. Insurgents had detonated an IED, took out one of the rangers that the Afghan police were in, and then from a grape giant building, they were shooting RPGs at us. They were flying over tops of the vehicles. This was actually when I was sitting in the vehicle, and our captain, he was like, "All right, we're getting out." And my first thought was like, "Are you serious?" And it's like, "Okay, if you're going, I'm going." So you got out of the safety of a vehicle and went towards the rockets. What is it like to have an RPG shot at you? Not fun. Not fun. It's very scary. But at the same time, it wasn't scary then. Sure. It was, again, once you got back and you were kind of in the safety of the fob, you were just like, oh, what just happened? Well, and you're in the middle of this fight, this firefight. How consistently, that's one scenario, but of course, you're not always in that situation. You're doing carpentry other times, which isn't as intense, I'm thinking. How consistently are you aware and maybe scared for your own life when you're doing this kind of work? In Afghanistan that time, it was pretty much a daily thing because I wasn't really a carpenter there. My primary goal was, if we had a school going up or if we had wells going in, was to make sure that the contractors that we hired to build those were doing quality work. They weren't just throwing something up and calling it good. Okay. But at the same time, every day we were out. And it seemed like every time we went into a village, at minimum, we were getting a pop shot taken at us. Sure. What do you take away for that day? You've been, like I said, recognized for that day especially. What do you take away from it? Life is precious. You never know
whether you're going to wake up, you don't know what's going to happen. You just take every moment the best you can. Just enjoy life.
Well, Cliff, thanks so much for coming on and sharing your experience with it. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your work. You're watching Studio One from the University of North Dakota. We'll be back right after this.
The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is meeting the challenge of future healthcare workforce shortages. The state's only medical school produces the highest percentage of graduates nationwide who choose family medicine. Advanced degrees are also offered in basic medical sciences like anatomy and health professions like physical therapy. Students learn and train throughout the state.
In that way, we really are North Dakota.
Make your choice the UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences.
If this tennis ball represents today's environmental challenges, and these puppies are the EERC, then tackling those challenges is just another workday. At the EERC, we're improving air, water, and soil quality, developing renewable fuels, cleaner power plants, and discovering new ways to use our natural resources. And just like those puppies, we'll never tire of the pursuit. EERC, putting research into practice.
At the University of North Dakota School of Engineering and Mines, improving the world is our project.
This could be your next road.
Our research helps heat your home without hurting the environment.
You drink clean water because of my work.
We push technology to improve quality of life.
This field could fuel your car.
Petroleum production can be more efficient.
One day, my ideas will impact you.
I am
an engineer.
What does cancer look like? What about diabetes, heart disease? Medical laboratory professionals are a vital link in the treatment of disease and maintenance of health. They investigate clues found in the body that will direct patient care. The University of North Dakota's laboratory science programs are some of the most innovative, far-reaching, fully accredited programs in the nation. The UND School of Medicine and Health Sciences can help you become one of the few who see beneath the surface.
Tune in to our next show on Studio One. We'll meet a man who stood on duty as a guard for the Royal Norwegian family. Plus, we'll have other news and entertainment stories for you.
We're going to leave you now with pictures of the beautiful spring we've been having, courtesy of photographer Devin Krinke. From all of us here at Studio One, have a great week.